All right, so how are you doing? Hopefully having a great day. I know with all of the March Madness and everything going on, I did want to talk about a story that happened within the NBA dealing with Adam Silver, who made an appearance on King Charles. So if you don't know what that show is, it's a show with Gail King, Charles Barkley, where it's like their talk show. They had Adam Silver on. The topic of the All-Star game came up. Adam Silver gave us some insight into future plans as well as the thought process going into this past All Star game in Indiana. I thought some of it was really interesting, so I wanted to bring that to you on this episode. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Adam Silver, his overarching point about the All Star game was that as a commissioner, he looked at the effort problem with the All Star game, so he thought that he could fix that. But from what he saw in Indiana, he's come to the conclusion that the NBA is probably just past that point at this moment of going back to the All Star games. You remember when it was East versus West? It seemed like they were playing for the pride of the conference or whatever. Defense was there. The games are competitive. If you don't remember this past February, it was what 211 to 180 something. First time a team had scored over 200 points, which, if you remember before the All Star game, I made a kind of just sarcastic remark that could we actually see a team score over 200? I was not expecting it to happen, but it did. And coming from that game, I feel like a lot of people thought that was rock bottom for the All Star game, even though it's been trending that way for the past couple of years where the events on Saturday night overshadow the actual All Star game. Whereas before, when the All Star game was must watch, it was like on the same level, maybe a little bit above the events of Saturday, but like those events got you ready for the All Star game. Whereas now, the events are what you pay attention to in the All Star game. If you choose to tune in, it's probably just background noise while you're doing something else, to be honest with you. At least that's how it is with me. That's even if I tune in. There's been a few years now, I haven't really watched the game because what's the point? So I do think something else that Adam Silver talked about was looking at the Curry versus Ionescu event, maybe capitalizing on that a little bit more because during the interview, the you know topic of like Caitlin Clark was brought up. He said that that's something they would look at. So that got me thinking. What if it legitimately just turns into like your top two 3-point shooters in the NBA facing the top two 3-point shooters in the WNBA to see which league's best or something like that. Because obviously you can't run the Steph Curry aspect of it forever. Because eventually he's gonna retire. So the NBA's gonna have to think, how do they do the event post Steph Curry? So that's one. Another thing that came up was the fact. Now this one was probably the I don't know the biggest bit of news from the interview. He said that they went into Indianapolis this past February with it being like a one last chance for the players to turn the effort around in the All Star game to the point where Larry Bird was the honorary captain with it being in Indiana. And Larry Bird urged the players to make the game more competitive. That's why we didn't see the Elam ending this year. The league was like, we're going to turn it back to a real game. So no Elam ending. The halftime show was shorter. The player introductions were scaled back. The league was trying to make it seem like this is the one last chance to make things right. Like I said, did not work. Then another point that came in that conversation or in that line of questioning, Adam Silver said that players came up to him before and after the game and told him they understand the league wanted them TNT wanted them to up the effort level. So they understood what was at stake, still didn't do it, which Adam Silver said they knew all that, but still chose not to do it. And that's why he's at the point where I feel like he's been thinking about just cutting the All-Star game completely. Now, a thought has been thrown out there that what if you just do Team USA versus Team World? Which Adam Silver said the league's thought about it. But I think in Adam Silver's mind, he went back to East versus West thinking that was going to fix the whole, you know, where the game had gone with the draft and everything like that, where that turned into like a little circus. They did that. They did away with that when East versus West. He thought that was going to help it. It made it worse. So I think Adam Silver is at the point where if he throws another gimmick like USA versus the world, why would that change the player's opinion? Because as Adam Silver said, he's come to the realization that the players, as well as he said the teams are somewhat involved in this, the players look at it as a reason, like a break, right? It's a break in the season. The players are more dedicated to playoff runs and everything like that, which makes sense. But, we had the 90s and all the 80s and all that when the All-Star game was good. Those players were dealing with the same thing. So all of a sudden, today's players can't handle being competitive in the All-Star game while thinking about the team and playoff positioning and all that and trying to win a championship. Apparently, they can't do both now. A lot of that you have to look at the generational players. So you have like the 90s, Jordan, who's as competitive as can be. That's why the All-Star game was how it was. Look like 2000s, maybe look like Kobe, guys like that. Kind of the same way. Skip ahead to now, you'd have to say this generation has been LeBron's generation. So I think some of that's gonna have to fall on him as well. Because look, usually when you bring up LeBron, you talk about the slam dunk contest, which he's never done, which led to players thinking it wasn't cool. But I guess the example that needed to be set to fix this All-Star game, probably a few years ago, has to be on guys like LeBron or KD, the biggest names in the game. So if you're Adam Silver, how do you fix this? Now, I think part of it is focus on Saturday night. That's where the competition is. When guys get into the three-point contest, they want to win. When I was going to say Jaylen Brown did the slam dunk contest to hopefully throw a name behind it that might lead to more names joining in. We'll have to see what the effect of that is next season. Like if Jaylen Brown's back in it, okay. If Anthony Edwards decides to do it, okay. If like a Zion, something like that, then you could say the dunk contest is fine. But you have the three-point contest to build off of. You have the Steph Curry competition to build off of. I think the skills competition, I agree with Tyrese Halliburton, who said, I think around the All-Star game break, he would like to see it go back to the actual like obstacle course, single player, not the team aspect that they have now. I agree with that. I'm hoping that's a change that comes next year. Look, going off of the way Adam Silver's trying to put it, I think you should bring back like the shooting stars competition. If you don't know what that was, that's the one where it's like, I think it's part of the skills competition where you have like markings on the court that represent point values and you shoot from them. That used to be, I believe, its own competition. I say bring that back. And look, if you add competitions, you can bleed these into Sunday if ultimately you get to the point where the game goes away. Because Adam Silver did also say, if you look at football made the decision to cut the Pro Bowl game, turn it into flag football, because they realized the Pro Bowl game itself, you couldn't salvage it. So if Adam Silver gets to that point, he's going to have to fill that space with something. So I feel like they just go into all that. even like the horse competition that was last time we saw was a pandemic when we saw the guys at their home on the court and they're shooting like that. Bring that back. I don't care. At least you'll get to see players be creative. I think that would be entertaining to fans to watch. So if I'm Adam Silver, if I'm the league, I go all in on like the little specialized events. In terms of the game, I guess try USA versus the world, but don't bank the weekend on the game anymore. That's gone because I don't think it's going to come back to the point where it's the main attraction. So I think I was trying to think of what else Adam Silver said. He did take accountability because, like I said, you can't. I find it interesting that a lot of people put this on Adam Silver, but as he mentioned, with players knowing what was at stake and then still putting forth that performance, the players are at blame for what's going on with the All-Star game. Now, Adam Silver did say, like I said in the beginning, he blames himself for thinking he could fix the effort problem instead of doing, like I said, change the weekend and fill it with more. That way the impact of the All-Star game is lessened. So, like I said, I thought it was very interesting what he said. And I was just looking to see if there was more. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, he was on King Charles with Gail King and Charles Barkley. Look, I didn't watch it. I read the story about it. A lot of nice little nuggets in there. And I still say with Adam Silver, and I think why he's probably viewed as maybe the best commissioner right now, or one of the best, we'll say. I feel like with him, he's not afraid to try things, and if things fail, change plans. I feel like that I can appreciate. So let me know what you think in the comment section about the All-Star game, what they should do. Do you agree with me? Just pack it with events, kind of like what football did, and have a game of sorts kind of wrapped around that where it's not the focal point, it's just part of a series of events. Maybe that's what it is. Turn it into East versus West weekend through all the competitions. You have the All-Star game be part of that to see who wins the weekend. I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you would do if you were Adam Silver. Also, what'd you think about some of the points he pointed to in the interview? Like I said, it's a great time, March Madness, but I saw this, felt like I had to talk about it. So I appreciate you for clicking on the video. You already know what you need to do. Like, subscribe, share, follow all that good stuff. Socials up here on the screen. Follow me on the ones that you use. Greatly appreciate that. Remember, there's a Discord there. Would love to have you on there. But thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of March Madness. Look, if your brackets are busted, trust me, you're with about 99% of the world right now. So just have fun watching the games. And I'll see you in the next video.